Hey, good morning, everybody. My name is Marshall Richardson, and this is my video discussion on some of the advantages and disadvantages of teamwork. For me, really at its foundation, I find the advantage of teams being many hands makes light work. You're not going to accomplish what you would as an individual as you would compared to if you were on a team. That's really the foundation, at least for me. Some of the advantages in terms of being on a team, I find that you have an ability to learn from others, really, no matter what the task is. Even if you're all doing the exact same task, you're going to learn a different way or a different means to accomplish the same things. There will be leadership opportunity. Usually, in a team, there's going to be at least someone who is designated as the lead role or the manager of that team. So, there will be a chance for growth, at least for one person, if not a few. Some of my favorite concepts from the book was diversity. When you've got a team that's a cohesive unit and each member brings a skill set, something unique knowledge that can make a team very effective and very useful. And then the socialization aspect, just being in a team, you're able to better create and shape the culture of not only the team, but the people that the team affects and the organization that the team is a part of. You can't do that so much as an individual as you can when you're in a team. You can definitely affect change greater there. And like I said, perspective, just the ability to see things in a different light of how others see things. And just by doing that alone, you'll be able to discover gaps in the organization and possibly find new ways to handle solutions. When it comes to the disadvantages, I couldn't think of too many, especially in the reading. I didn't agree with some, but some were accurate. Uh, just off the bat, being in a team, you're going to minimize some of the individual's achievements. Usually, in a team, the collective are working towards a common goal, and so you may have one or two individuals that are pulling the anchor for the team, bringing a lot of work forward. And while the team may accomplish the goal, those individuals, their efforts may or may not be recognized because the team accomplished the goal at the end of the day. So it's a little harder as an individual to get recognition when you're on a team, at least from members outside of the team. And then in terms of leadership, poor qualities are definitely magnified when you're on a team. If you've got a poor leader, you could be a poor leader in your own right by yourself and know that you need to work on it. And it's definitely magnified when you're on a team and those qualities are brought to light when people have to rely on you to guide them. And then last thing I think would be the efficiency of the team relies pretty heavily on the contract of trust. And sadly, trust is it's a contract that has to be renewed all the time. When you're in a team, people will trust that you'll do the work you say you can do based on what you've done in the past or what you say, but they will always need to have that trust renewed by having you do something else for them constantly. They can't just go for a length of time and assume that you will always do the job. They're always going to have that trust be renewed because if it's ever broken, again, you're going to fight to get that new contract and get it back again. In terms of healthcare and teams in healthcare, I think they're mandatory for success. Healthcare is just too broad, too diverse. It's way too complex for any one of us to do it alone. And you really have to consider the customer, which is our patients. They really need a system to where they have cross-functional teams that can work together to do things like solve the disease processes that they're dealing with. When you think of the administration, the staff of those health systems really need a team of execs who can problem solve, that they can anticipate those problems, adapt to the changes of the market, and then try and protect those staff members from any foreseen problems. Same thing when you think about quality improvement. You need a team that's able to try and look at the organization and observe what seems fine to everyone else, but is truly broken and needs fixed, those systems that are already in place. And then, same thing from an operations standpoint. You really need those project teams who can provide those supporting functions like logistics, bring their minds together, figure out what's the best way that we can obtain this new instrument, or what's the best way that we can use the equipment that we have to move things around and move personnel around so they're in the best position to be most effective. In terms of my team experiences, one of the most relatable ones being in the Army was my opportunity to be a staff member of a battalion. Battalion's usually about anywhere from 300 to 500 people, and the staff of that battalion, usually it's about at least less than 10 people. It could be as few as 3 people, but usually it's about 8 to 10 people. They have similar functions to what you would find in a health system. You've got human resources person, logistics and finance, basically called supply person, operations person, training person, medical liaison, chaplain, and then they're all led by an executive officer, basically our role sender. They called XO for short. All the roles are pre-assigned by the position, so the role sender doesn't necessarily need to say, this is what I need you to do in your position. You usually know coming in what your role is, what your discipline is. But the executive officer is going to give a broad vision, a broad plan of what needs to be detailed. And then the staff's going to be the one to go make that broad plan into a detailed plan. And each staff member has to rely on the other staff members to provide that information, to provide their discipline's input before they can really, kind of mold the plan into what it is. Medical person is going to rely on training. HR is going to rely on supply. They all rely on each other. And so it's really a huge collective that relies on collaboration and trust. If any one member is weak, the collective suffers. And really, it's been the overall most positive experience for me being on a staff, because I've learned how to, trust others, gain perspective, and just see, the impact of humility and the impact of lack of trust. Overall, I strongly prefer working on a team. Again, at the basis, many hands make light work. Again, my name is Marshall Richardson.